sit. Here we are with Marley. We're about to go on a walk, and I'm going to have her, sit closer to the gate. Sit so that you can see her. I had her sit. I opened the gate, which is the way we always do it. And now I'm having her sit at the boundary to the street. And see, she gets really excited at the street, so you might have to reset her. And if it was just her and I wasn't talking to you, I would have said no and reset her. We have a lot going on the street right now. But she's waited at the boundary. I stepped out, I stepped back. Okay, now I'm just going to do a little circle here because I need to close this gate, but that's what you're always going to do. It's a very important move when you have her on a leash, or any dog on a leash, that you're always using your body like this, because you're literally hurting the dog. Hurting with a D, hurting. It keeps the leash loose. If you're doing this, you're going to be dragging the dog around, as most people know, because that's what happens. But if you're doing this, no matter which way you're going, it keeps the dog next to you, keeps the leash loose. Sit. Perfectly sets the dog up to do a sit stay. This time it's at the curb. We're always controlling boundaries, doorways, gateways, curbs. It just gives her a chance to practice her calmness and her sit stay in a bunch of different places in real life. And this is the start of her walk. And so her training will be when you're handling her. When you put her on a leash to take her somewhere, you're going to be stopping at boundaries. And then now we're going to cross the street. What I do is I treat from here at the curb to across the street, where I'm going to release her on the other side, as the calm zone. Because the problem that most people have, and she did this, of course, is drag their owners across the street. And so we've been working very hard at, see how calm she is? She's just waiting for me to say, okay. And she might surge forward a little bit, but the most you have to do, you can tell that she's been used to rushing across streets in the past. And I really am just exaggerating. I'm walking so slowly. But see, all I'm doing is tapping lightly if I have to. Normally you'd be walking more like this and it would be fine. But I just want to show you what we've been doing. And then on the other side, it's sit. And here she gets released, go, and the walk starts. Now, in your neighborhood, I haven't seen it yet, you may not be crossing the street outside of your fence or gate or front door, but this is how we're doing it here. So in your neighborhood, it might be just walking to the end of your driveway, having her sit, and then taking her off your property and then having her sit again and release, or you might cross the street. So I'm just doing this, I'm showing you what we've been doing here. You got the curbs, you got the gateways, you got the doorway, and this is the result of doing it this way every day for the last few weeks. You get a much calmer dog. And also you're practicing sit stays and loose leash walking in the process of doing this as well. So we're starting the walk, and this is how we start a walk every day now, that she's becoming calmer. Always keeping the leash loose. And we'll start our walk. And as you can see, we're keeping the leash loose. You have a couple of options. If you ever had a problem with her pulling on the street, come. Like, let's say that she wanted to sniff something that that you don't want her to sniff over there. Use the come command like that. She's got that, and all you do is even if you don't have something, you use your target hand. Come. She comes away from whatever she's sniffing or getting into. Good. And you have her. So you saw how I did that. It's right hand target. This time I'm going to have a little treat. Come. She comes back to me. Bring it to the side here. Good. Your other hand is free because the loop's around your wrist, and the other hand grabs the leash. So when you're walking her, you always have the option to call her back to you. There can't be any pulling, because as soon as she pulls, come. You do that enough times, like I have, and your pulling, even if you do have pulling, is very little, because she's so used to not pulling anymore and doing the come commands instead. And you have to do, and over time you do less and less. Once she gets used to walking with you the way she's walking with me, you have less and less pulling all the time because of how you handle her differently now than before. But also, let's say you're walking her and you just want to manage the leash. without doing any commands, and she's on free time now, she can do whatever she wants. The rule is that the leash stays loose the whole time. And if she does pull, you just tap a little bit like that, and she'll stop pulling. So if the camera stays there, and I walk back here, and I'm going to walk towards you now, see if I'll walk fast and see if she'll pull me. If she pulls me, I'm just going to tap her. So these are the things you're not going to do. You're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be doing any of that, because that will actually cause her to start pulling again. And the rule is a tight leash, tension on the leash creates tension in the dog. So you always want it to be loose. And you see this through this whole little clip. I've been tapping and releasing. She goes to the end of it, or she starts to pull. You tap and release, and she stops. Come. You always have your recall. Good. To get her out of any situation, stop her from pulling towards a cat or something that she sees on your street, whatever interests her in your neighborhood. And you always keep the leash loose, and it's so much easier than struggling. See, she kind of pulled there. If you tap, you don't even have to do a command. If you tap and release, the pulling stops. And if you add the recall, come. Good girl. Sit. You can have her sit next to you and start all over. Okay. We are in this very busy place, and we're gonna sit. We're gonna see how her training is here with all these people walking around. One thing I've learned about her, when she's excited and nervous, she will do this. And it's like a nervous kind of thing, scratching herself like that. She only does it when there's a lot going on. Now she has a sit stay, and she gets a little treat for staying there as I walk around her. Good. She almost popped up, but she didn't. So that would be a sit stay. You say sit, you don't repeat it. We'll wait till this goes past. You notice that I'm not restraining her here. It's a loose leash the whole time. And I'm going to release her by tapping her chest and saying, go. All right, we're here, down by the back door. We're going to practice a little down stay while lots of big distractions pass by. If something like that happens, it passes by, good. You probably didn't see it. You may or may not have seen that. She looked at that cart, those people walking past, and then she looked back at me, and I gave her a reward for that. And even while these things are passing by, I'm going to practice our basic down stay, which is to walk around around her. And then reward her for staying there. Good. And even in a place where there's a lot going on and she's like really easily overstimulated here, I mean, a lot of dogs would be, of course, she's still able to follow the rules. And of course the rules are she stays there no matter what goes past. This might be tough. So you can use food at the right moment. See, I just grabbed a big pile of dog treats. I'm not restraining her to stay down. I just grabbed a big pile of dog treats so that she would be eating when that big distraction passed by, and it kept her calm enough to stay in a down stay. And it's real busy here, so we're going to just, out of the blue, with Marley, we're going to just do a down stay with all these people walking around us. Down. Sometimes when she's really distracted, when there's a lot going on, you need to do this as you say the command. In other places, like in your yard, in your house, she doesn't need that. And I wasn't forcing her down. It was just all about her seeing the foot do that. I didn't even apply any pressure really to the leash. But sometimes you have to do that. And you never want to repeat the command. You can just go, yeah, fine, yeah. No, man, I'm here at your leisure, because this is your place. Okay. So we're just doing a downstay now. Hi there, how you doing? With things going past. So the only place that we can't practice is your house. But I try to find places where there's a lot going on, where there's a lot of distractions, and practice her downstay and sit stay in those places. And then she has these skills now in everywhere else but your house. And then we start doing lessons at your house, and we teach her to have a solid stay there. She already has one in several different places, so no, needs to wait until you actually, good. Place the reward there and withdraw like she just did. So if she tries to grab it out of your hand or she pops up, you say no. See how now all you do is this and she'll go back. So there's no pointing, snapping your fingers, talking to her. If I wasn't talking to you, I just would have said no and she would have gone back. But if she tries to take the reward out of your hand and pushes it or anything, you pull back and say no because she has to wait. It's another way that we have her think and focus. She has to wait until we put the reward there and we release it, just like you saw us do. You saw me do. So I've had her do a downstay for a little bit here. No. And this is not easy for her. So I've had her do this downstay. Now we're going to release her from this downstay. She's done a great job. Okay, sit. Have her sit once you release her out of the down, and then release her, go from the sit stay like that. And now she's free for a little while. Go, let's go.